Dame scores 50, and the Blazers lose another close one. At least they played a little better. Hold on, Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You're listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making the show your first listen every day. Coming at you every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. Welp, make it 5. The Blazers lose to the Cavs on Thursday evening at the Moda Center. We're going to talk about this game, talk about another final 2.5 minutes where the game was right there in the balance and the Blazers couldn't get it done. They spoiled a really special night from Damian Lillard. And then I got a silver lining to close the show. I like to, at the end of, on Friday shows, I like to leave you with a little bit of positivity. We're not going to, this is a daily show coming every single weekday, but we're not going to talk for a few days. You're not going to hear me talk at you for a few days, or if you watch on YouTube, you're not going to watch me talk at you for a few days. But so I like to close Friday's show with like some positivity. It's like, oh, here's the thing. Here's like a hold on to your joy, and then like really this is a special moment. It's getting a little more difficult to do that, but I found something to hold on to. That's what we'll do to close the show. But first, let's talk about this basketball game. We'll do what we do. Fastest recap in the West. Blazers lose 119-113. You will note, didn't score 115 points, and they lost. It's what they do. Portland led for the first 43 minutes and 20 seconds of this game. So they led early, 32-27, and Damian Lillard set the tone early in this game. He had 11 in the first quarter, but more than that, he had 7 field goal attempts and 4 free throw attempts. Like he knew this team was struggling. He said, "Get on my back and ride, fellas." 11 in the first quarter, had 25 in the first half. Blazers led by 5, 32-27 after 1, led 58-51 at the break, had a 14-point lead in the second quarter. I thought they played really well in this game. More on that in a moment. Held on to that lead going into the fourth, up 91-87 after 3, and again survived mini bench shifts to begin to end the third quarter and begin the fourth. Got the starters back in there and rode them as they've been doing, but it wasn't maybe as aggressive as they've been with the bench guys because Shaedon Sharpe and also Gary Payton was able to play up to 20 minutes, but they get through it, they push through it, and still 8 minutes into the game, 7 minutes into the quarter, they're still up. Donovan Mitchell hits a step back from like the left slot, left wing, like two-pointer, very deep two-pointer, gives Cleveland their first lead. 4:40 left in the fourth quarter, and the Cavs hadn't gone away. They were down double digits in the first half, but they hadn't gone away. But you knew that the Blazers, after holding on for the first 43 plus minutes, were in, once they gave up the lead, you knew they were going to be in a fight because Dame had been so special up to this point. They need him to continue to be so special. The game's tied with 2 minutes and 26 seconds left. A Jeremy Grant miss, a Josh Hart turnover coupled with Donovan Mitchell layup and a couple fast break buckets by the Cavs, and the Blazers lose this one in the final seconds yet again, 119-113. That's your fastest recap in the West. Damian Lillard had 50 points, 16 of 28 from the floor. He was 5 of 13 from 3. He had 13 of his 15 free throws. He had the ball in his hands a bunch in this game and had 1 turnover in 40 minutes and 12 seconds. He was fantastic. He was so stinking good. 25 in the first half, only 6 in the third quarter, then came back late and made sure that they had a puncher's chance he was questionable in this game with a left ankle sprain. He had sustained that in Tuesday's game against the Orlando Magic, and it was like, oh, maybe, he injured himself in the first half of that game, first quarter of that game, came back and played the end of that game and had 30. Like, it wasn't like it was really holding him back, but he didn't shoot well. So those are like, if he plays, is he going to be all right? And then the first 2 touches he gets in the first quarter cash from the right wing. Lamar Hurd even mentioned on the broadcast, get well soon. Lamar Hurd didn't announce the second half, wasn't feeling well. Hope you're feeling better, buddy. But Lamar mentioned on the broadcast, like, he's going up quick. Like, you could tell he was getting into his shot quickly. Dame scores, 6 early in the third quarter, comes out for a little rest and comes in to close the quarter. A little bit different substitution pattern for the Blazers in this one. We'll see if that sticks over the weekend. We'll talk about it in next week's show. And then he just turned it on, finished with 10 in the quarter and then brought it home with 15 in the fourth. He was really special. He played every minute for the final 14 and a half minutes. They left him on the court to go win the game, and he almost did. And I think that's what kind of makes this loss frustrating, is that they wasted a really good Damian Lillard night. I want to talk more about that. Jeremy Grant had 22. Jusuf Nurkic had 12 and 12. Anthony Simons had 15. And the Blazers got, the bench doesn't score, but I thought that Gary Payton played okay in his minutes, but despite not attempting a shot. Shaedon Sharpe was a team high +6, as a friend of mine pointed out, in his 21 minutes. And this wasn't a game where they got killed with the minutes when Dame was out of the game. It was just they were outscored by 1 in the minutes Dame sat. They played pretty darn well. They just didn't have it in the final 3 minutes. On the other side, Donovan Mitchell had 26, but it took him a while to get going. Darius Garland had 20 and 10 assists, 17 for Evan Mobley, who had to sit early with foul trouble. And then when he came back in, I thought he really shifted the game. Jared Allen had 24 points and 10 boards. Ricky Rubio played for the first time this season for your Cleveland Cavaliers and had 9. Go listen to Locked On Cavs. They'll probably talk about Ricky Rubio hitting 3-pointers from the corner. Listen, I do legitimately think the Blazers played better in this game. I don't think they played well against the Magic. I'm not like maybe it's rose-colored glasses to some extent here, because I try not to just bury them when I don't think they deserve it. They played really poorly on Tuesday night against Orlando. It was a bad loss, an ugly one, and I call it like it is. I'll call it like it is here. I thought they played well in this game. I really did. I thought they played well in this game. I thought the defense played really well in the first half. They got helped out a little bit by the Cavaliers missing some makeable shots. Like, the Cavs were missing some open threes and to begin this game, and that they made late. But I think for the most part, the Blazers played well. Their defense played pretty well. Damian Lillard was fantastic. Like, he's still one of the best players in the league, and he showed it tonight. He knew this team needed a win, and he set the tone early and chased it down. You're in a tie game with 2.5 minutes left, and you lose. They've done this a bunch of times. It is deflating. It is if you're listening to this podcast, thanks. If it's deflating, it is a deflating group playing a Groundhog's Day type of game. It's just, they're caught in this cycle where fourth quarter offensive execution has escaped them in a variety of ways. Against the Magic, I think they just missed a bunch of clean looks they can make. And tonight against the Cavs, one bad miss and one bad turnover from Josh Hart, and that's the difference in the game. They gave a couple fast break buckets in there, but it's just frustrating as a fan, incredibly frustrating and deflating as just someone who has to make a bunch of audio content. I feel like I've said this before, right? I feel like I've hosted this episode a lot recently where I'm like, yeah, they played pretty well. And then for 45 minutes in the game, found themselves in the game, and then they weren't. Let's talk about those final 3 minutes. And also, the Blazers went back to an oldie but goodie that really got them going against one of the best defensive teams in the league. We will talk about both of those things in the second segment. Before we do that, I want to tell you that this episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. As a small business owner or hiring manager, you know that success in 2023 all depends on the team members you surround yourself with. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. With LinkedIn Jobs, you can hire qualified candidates more efficiently by matching open roles with people who have the skills, values, and experiences to help you achieve your goals. LinkedIn Jobs helps you quickly attract qualified candidates to your open jobs with targeting tools. Those targeting tools go beyond just resume data. They're using insights from your job post, insights about your company, and 875 million member profiles on their service to post your job in front of the most qualified candidates. You can identify those most qualified candidates on LinkedIn Jobs and connect with them fast and for free. Plus, they make it easy to screen and rate applicants based on your job qualifications all in one platform. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right. Let's talk about this Groundhog Day. This one's familiar, but they did something different. So if you've been listening to the shows this week, we're kind of going over some of the bigger themes of, you should listen to the shows each week. I do a good job on this podcast and you'll enjoy it. If you're listening to this one now on Friday, you're going to like the ones earlier in the week because they'd only lost one game. One home game earlier in the week. No, I'm kidding, but you really should listen to all the podcasts. They're good. I'm proud of the work I do here. Regardless, if you listen to the shows earlier this week, we're talking big themes. And one of the big things I talked about was Chauncey Billups following that Magic game. And I kind of gave my sort of candid opinion on where I'm at with Chauncey Billups. And one of my criticisms of him is that I sometimes think the offense is too much, too many bells and whistles. It has, a good plan, but it's just not enough Damian Lillard, Jusuf, Nurkic pick and roll. Like, I'm a big believer if there's a thing you do really well, like at an elite level, and Nurk and Dame in the pick and roll is an elite combo and has been for many, over several seasons, has been one of the best duos in the league. For a while, there was the best high volume duo in the league. They're just great at it. Dame is a great pick and roll player with a lot of folks, but Nurk and him have great chemistry. Nurk's a good screen setter. He's big and he's a load, and you have to pay attention to him getting downhill, and he's passer, so you can run handoffs and rescreens and all of those obvious things. And I just think the Blazers, they're below average in the league in just volume of pick and rolls. I want them to go back to it. So against the Cavs, the number 2 rated defense in the NBA this season, an elite defensive team, like a championship level defense. The Cavs, I don't think they're like considered in that inner circle of contenders, and they shouldn't be because they just don't have a small forward. They have a variety of players that play small forward, but if they had that real wing between the rotation of Karis LeVert and Isaac Okoro and Lamar Stevens, like anyone who could play a wing who could play on both ends, they had a two-way wing. They're like championship level good because the defense is great with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Donovan Mitchell, who didn't play a lick of defense last year in Utah, is much more competitive on defense, and Darius Garland's probably a better defender than he gets credit for. Like they're a championship level defense, and they're one of the very good teams in this league for sure, in my opinion. So what did the Blazers do? They leaned on a whole bunch more Dame and Nurk pick and roll, and Dame scored 50. Sometimes it's that simple. I do think it's not always that simple. So that's why I say sometimes. Like, I don't think you can just. There's a reason why spamming, 110 pick and rolls a game, or however many offensive possessions you get, about 50, I guess on average, 50, 55. So like, I don't really think like running 35 Dame and Nurk pick and rolls is the answer, but running more than they do certainly was. The reason that you don't run a bunch is kind of the criticism of the previous coaching staff, is that if you just do the same thing over and over again, you're too predictable, too easy to guard. So like, I understand the variety, I understand getting Dame off the ball. In fact, I think a lot in this game they would do, like Dame would get off the ball for a moment, they'd run a screen for him to clear out one side so they could run like an empty side pick and roll. But they also just ran straight up high pick and rolls with him. They just ran it more often in this game, and it really worked against an elite defense. Like I said, like I think a team that's like championship level good on defense, you run your bread and butter, you run a thing that you're great at, and you get 50 points out of your star player. Dame was really aggressive looking to get fouls. Whenever a Cavs wing had, and they put the wings on him, they put Okoro on him, they put Stevens on him, they even put LeVert on him at the end of the game, which is just size, right? But the first two guys, when Okoro and Stevens were on him, Dame was twice, he got them on, each of them on rip throughs, because it was like, if you're going to be physical with me, I'm going to the line. Early in the third quarter, they got Evan Mobley in foul trouble and helped them win the game because the Blazers' lack of size was exposed against the Cavs, a gigantic team. But when the Cavs could only play one of their 7-footers due to just foul trouble and then rotation stuff, by the time Mobley came back, Jared Allen had to sit. Like, the Portland was able to take advantage, able to keep the lead, able to not get exposed for being a little bit small up front and not having currently with the healthy guys they do a way to get bigger. So they just ran a bunch of pick and rolls. And it worked. I am in favor of them doing that more often. I am sure, without without going deep behind the scenes on this, like, and telling you what I've heard or whatever. I am sure Damian Lillard asked to run more pick and rolls. I'm certain of it. Just by his demeanor in this game and the way that they did it, I am sure that him and Chauncey had a conversation, and he said, "Yo, we're struggling. The offense is struggling. Let's go back. It always with everything with coaching and players, like, it's why I'm a big believer in players play, is like, it's a balance, right? You kind of just want to run what your guys do best. I am certain Damian Lillard requested to run more pick and rolls and then went and got it, because that's what he's good at and that's what he's comfortable with. It's his comfort level, and back in his comfort level, the dude scored 50 on 16 of 28 shooting. Like, he was really good. And part of it was that they kind of simplified the actions that they run for him. It wasn't straight high pick and roll, everybody stand in the corner, but it was like run an action and then everybody spread out and we're going to run a spread pick and roll. Kind of maybe the balance. And sometimes they just straight ran it. Let's talk for a moment before we close the show about the final couple minutes, because I cannot get this final sequence out of my brain, so I'm going to get it out of my brain and on to the podcast. Blazers come out. Just over 3 minutes left. The Blazers, Damian Lillard hunted a foul on a wing three, trying to get a foul call. He'd gotten one earlier that was very, very generous, and he hunted another one. It was a bad shot, right? Just a bad shot. Shouldn't have taken it. Bad shot. He does that probably once a game. Hunts a three. Superstar dude looking for superstar call. He literally got one early in the game. Hard to fault him. I'll fault him. It was a bad shot. But Cavs take a timeout. They score, go up 3. Blazers come out of timeout and they run a play where Dame's off the ball. I hated it. It took him 18 seconds to get the ball back to him. He catches it on the wing, isolation, and with 6 seconds on the clock, a fully cleared outside of the court for Damian Lillard rocks, a fully cleared outside of the court with a live dribble and only 6 seconds left. Not that valuable. He swings to Anthony Simons and Ant hits a 3. I didn't even like the play. The pass to Ant. Ant is really good from that left wing. I believe according to Kirk Goldsberry of ESPN, the league leader in points from that slot left wing 3 above the break, Anthony Simons. He's standing there. Dame finds him. He hits a 3. Tie ball game. It's tied with 2 minutes and 26 seconds left. Here we are. The Blazers have, down by as many as 5 at this point, but they've battled back. They're sticking with it. They've been, they led for most of the game. They finally find themselves back, and it's like, okay, we're tied. 2:26. You need to stop. You need to score. They don't get a stop. Donovan Mitchell gets a layup. Donovan Mitchell is going to get MVP votes this year. Him getting into the paint he's just really good. He's just a really good offensive player. I'm not too mad about that particular bucket. I didn't think that one was a big deal. You got to score. And the Blazers run a really, they went back to the bread and butter. They run a pick and roll. The Cavs pick it up, swing to the corner, swing up top, or swing to the right slot, right wing. And Jeremy Grant just misses a wide open 3. It's a really good look. The ball moved from side to side. Dame drove left like he wants to do. He was killing getting into the paint off pick and rolls. Gets into the paint, draws a ton of attention, ball swings. Jeremy Grant just misses a wide open shot. No problem with this one. The Cavs are good at this. They're one of the best hit-ahead teams in the league. I don't know off the top of my head their pace numbers, but I've watched a ton of them this year. They're really good at hitting the ball ahead in transition. Evan Mobley contested the 3. He leaked out on the shot. When it missed, Donovan Mitchell grabs the board, hits it ahead to the leak out Evan Mobley, who dunks. It's maybe you want Jeremy Grant to sprint back immediately when he lets the ball go, but it was a clean look at a 3. And even if he sprints back, he's probably going to end up a little behind Evan Mobley because of the nature of how shot contests work. They give up a bucket. Now they're down 4. Down 4 with under 2 minutes to go, still in this game. And what do? They get Dame the ball on the right-hand side. They don't bring a screen for him. They're just going to let him go to work. If you bring a screen, you're going to invite a double team. You're going to have to get the ball and get it out. It's just like at this point, you just want Dame to beat his man. He has lived in the paint all game. It's Karis LeVert on him. You are not worried about, if you're Damian Lillard, you see Karis LeVert and you say, great, I'm looking past you at the help defense because I know I'm going to get past you. The help defense in the strong side corner, Dame's on the right-hand side, right of the free throw line. You see above the three-point line on the right wing. In the strong side corner, in that right-hand corner is Josh Hart. I like Josh Hart being in the strong side corner because if Josh Hart's in the weak side corner on the back-end side, you do not have to guard him. You can pull all the way in. Josh Hart hasn't shot the three. He's shooting like 34% from threes. He's right around his career average, but he hasn't shot a bunch. He doesn't shoot them. He shoots less than 1.5 a game. Does not put the ball up, and everybody knows it. They guard him like it. But so I like him in the strong side corner. That's good. That's good spacing because you typically don't help off the strong side corner in the NBA, and if he's in the weak side corner, you're inviting help. It's good stuff. But Donovan Mitchell knows the scouting report, and instead of guarding Josh Hart, he is standing on the block. He's outside of the paint, but he's standing on the block, like the large square along the restricted area, along the paint. He's not guarding the strong side corner in 2023. Damian Lillard drives. He's looking past Karis LeVert to the help defense. He knows it's there. He kicks to Josh Hart. You have to shoot the ball. Down 4, a minute 30 on the clock. You have to shoot the ball. You have to shoot the ball. You have to shoot the ball. You have to shoot the ball because you're down 4 with a minute 30 and you've got a wide open catch and shoot three-pointer. I don't care who you are. You got to shoot the ball. Drew Eubanks hit a corner 3 from that same spot. Shoot the ball. Shoot the ball. Shoot the ball. Josh Hart doesn't shoot the ball. He drives into the paint. He turns it over. The Cavs go the other way. Mitchell gets a fast break layup, and they go up 6 with a minute and 24 seconds left, and that's your ball game. Now you're down 6 with less than 90 seconds left. You're in absolute scramble mode. You need, big shot. You need some help. You need to make shots. You need some help. It's been a weird thing all year with Josh. It's been a weird thing all year where he's just stopped shooting. It is one of the strangest developments in the league, quite frankly. It's bizarre. He was one of the league leaders in percentages from the corners last year, among the league leaders. Probably not volume-wise to get up there, but he shot over 50% from the corners last year. He's freaking great at it. He won a game earlier this year on a corner 3. I can understand passing up above the break threes. They're further away. In the corner, 90 seconds left, catch and shoot. When the dude hasn't been guarding you, you have to shoot the ball. You're not going to get a better shot. It stinks. It stinks. But that leads me to my silver lining. I have come out of the darkness, out of the muck. I've dragged myself out of the mud and the despair of watching this basketball team. And I found a silver lining. Let's join me in the final segment of this show, and I'll tell you what I've learned that makes me feel like there's some good news, there's some joy on the horizon. First, BetOnline, fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your sports action, whatever that is. Blazers play 2 games over the weekend. You want to fade them against the Mavs. Place where you can fade them against the Mavs on BetOnline. You don't want to bet on basketball because you want to stay as far away from it. You're going to get the NFL playoffs. You're going to get the NHL's regular season. You got MLB futures. You got soccer all over the globe. You can go with combat sports, tennis, golf, whatever it is, you name it. You're going to find out on BetOnline. Don't wait. Go take advantage today. That's BetOnline, where the game starts. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond, and you are still listening to Locked On Blazers. Let's talk silver linings. When Josh Hart doesn't shoot the ball with a minute and 30 seconds left and turns it over, dribbles from the corner into basically to the elbow and gets the ball knocked away and leads to a fast break layup that effectively ends the game, I thought to myself 2 things. One, man, is this going to be an unpopular podcast episode? And 2, what am I going to say nice about this team? I'll take you behind the show a little bit. I often watch these games with my wife. She's a big basketball fan, and I will say, hey, what should I do? Wait, you're a Blazer fan. Like, what should I talk about? And she literally said, I don't know. I don't like watching this team right now. Nailed it. You nailed it. I think that is the general consensus, my dear. But I'm committed. I'm legitimately committed to finding a silver lining, to finding reasons to be positive about this team. And when Josh Hart missed that shot, I racked my brain for what to do, and I landed on this. Here's my silver lining. Here's my reason to be hopeful about this team. There is no way the roster looks like this in a month. There's no way. They do not have enough shooting to be competitive. They're missing guys right now. The Blazers announced today in a press release. This is Friday, January 13th show. So on Thursday, January 12th, they have released a press release that said that Nassir Little had been upgraded to doing on-court work, and he was TBD, but he had, he's progressing in his rehab from a fractured bone in his hip, and he's taken the next step and he's doing on-court work. Reporters who have seen him have said they've seen him doing work at practice. They've seen him. Casey Holdahl of Trailblazers.com posted a video of him getting shots up pregame, like Nassir Little out there getting back. But even when he's back, not a shooter. The other guy, Justice Winslow, the Blazers say he's going to be out at least 2 more weeks with his ankle sprain. You'll remember as recently as yesterday on this podcast that I told you that I had heard whispers that Justice himself was confident he could be back in 1 and 2 weeks. Guess who doesn't share that confidence? The Blazers training staff, who in the language in the press release said at least 2 weeks. So 2 plus for Justice. But even if those dudes get back, who are going to help, they're not going to help the shooting. Gary Payton, he played 20 and a half minutes tonight. You would assume that his minutes restriction has bumped from 15 to 20 as he continues to ramp up. Did not attempt a field goal. 0 for 0. Did not attempt a field goal. Him and Josh Hart combined to go 1 of 5 from the floor. Even in full with the complement of wings they have, they don't have enough shooting. Trent Watford out of the lineup right now, non-shooter. Jabari Walker took his place, non-shooter. Shaedon Sharpe, a 19-year-old, he went 0 for 1 from 3 on a corner look from the right corner. He is, in theory, a guy who can shoot, but I would not describe him as a shooter. He's not like a movement shooter. He's a slasher at this point in his career. I think he can develop into a very good shooter, but he's not there. They just don't have the shooting. And it couldn't have been more evident in that final sequence. It wasn't the final sequence because there were 90 seconds left, but in that late sequence against the Cavs. So here's my silver lining. Here's why you should reason to have positive thoughts about this team. They're gonna make a move. There is no way, with as good as Damian Lillard looks right now, 50 points in this game, and he was blowing by fools to the rim, getting to the rack on a bum left ankle. He's questionable in the game, and there was no question how good and aggressive he was right away. 50 on like 60% shooting. He was good. He was very, very good. You can't waste how special he is. You have to try to upgrade the roster, and what this team needs is a couple more shooters. At a minimum, one more shooter. I came away watching the end of this game thinking, well, they're going to make a move. So there's a silver lining. Things are going to change because they have to. They're not going to be stagnant. They cannot. They will not. I mean, I know them. This is a guess, it was an educated guess based on everything they've said. A move is coming. There is no way a month from now this team looks the same. So if you are frustrated watching this team, there's your reason to be excited, because this team is temporary and another version of this team is coming soon. That's going to do it for today's show, this week's shows. Go back to listen to the shows this week. They're a lot of fun. Mark Schindler was on the podcast yesterday. He is a great basketball mind. We talked Blazers at midseason. I did a show on Anthony Simons, did a long show on Chauncey Billups. All of the big topics you want covered are right here on Locked On Blazers. So tell your friend about it, or friends. Tell multiple friends, not just one. It would help if you tell one. It would be really helpful if you told 3. So go ahead and do that, and then come back for next week because we'll have more shows 5 days a week wherever you get podcasts. Make it your first listen. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.